How would you like to be able to take more vacations this year without having to sacrifice your business and also without having to add more time into working your business? Well, this is what we are going to be talking about today is how you really, when you nail your business clothes and your business style with your clothes, you can have that. Now, if we have not met yet, hello, my name is Nikki Henriks, and I am a personal brand stylist, and I help women like you, female founders, to really use your style for your business. It actually can be a business strategy. And this is possible when you really understand the right things to wear. So let's get started. And I want you to picture yourself 6 months from now, maybe end of the year, and laying on the beach on a beach chair and just giggling with your daughter and looking up and being like, thank goodness I finally took this vacation. Thank goodness I finally understood how to really make time work for me better. And who would have thought that it would have started with a pivot in my style, in the style that I wear every day for my business. Now, I'm so excited because this is possible for you to have moments like these, moments like that picture you saw in your head of that. And yes, it has to do with what you wear for your business. So, we are going to talk about, first of all, I'm going to give you like a formula of what makes it possible to really create this. And then at the end, I'm going to be giving you some takeaways to really, you can write it down, I'll put it in the captions, but really to think about to start getting you to this place. Because I want you to think about when you got dressed for your business today, what what did your clothes tell you? And you might be like, oh, I guess I didn't realize that my clothes told me something. Well, here's the thing, is that your clothes actually, like we've talked about before, if you've seen my episodes, they talk to people. Your clothes are communication, okay? And actually, I'm going to be writing more on the board. I think, I don't know if you're a visual learner or not. In some capacity, people are visual learners. And so I just really want this for you to understand this in the best way possible. I'm actually gonna, there we go. Okay, ear close. I'm not a great drawer, but you'll get the point as long as you can understand what I'm writing. Okay, so here we go. So oh man, and we're gonna draw stick figures, okay? Here's you. Okay, so we're just going to point to like the skirt. Your clothes are talking, okay? They got a lot to say. Okay, so the clothes are talking. Now they're talking to two different people, okay? They're talking to you and they're talking to the people that see you. So we're just going to call it like your audience, okay? Or business. Okay. Clothes are communicating all the time. They're talking to you and they're talking to your audience. And they can say all sorts of different things. In previous episodes, I've really talked about how they're talking to your audience. So if you're looking more for that, go check out some other videos. But also they talk to you and they tell you things, okay? It tells you who you are, really. Um, and just like, you know, just like your thoughts can say things that aren't true, you can think things that aren't true. Your clothes can communicate the wrong things to you and say you are someone that you are really not. And this is like an actual, it'd be like a psychology theory Um, but there's a psychological term that we call this, and I don't know if you've heard it before, but it's called enclosed cognition. Okay. So you can think of like enclosed, like your clothes, cognition, which I believe has to deal with like the brain, right? Yeah, if I can draw a brain really well. Here's your brain. Okay, so your clothes tell you like who you are. And so what does this have to do with getting to that place where, you can be on the beach more with your daughter, your family, without having to add a lot of time? We're going to get there in just a second, but I want to talk about enclosed cognition a little bit more. So there was a study done, and they had these white coats. This is a pink marker. I'm going to see how well this works. I am updating my markers next week. Okay. Oh yeah. Okay. Let's see if I can. So we're going to pretend this is white though, okay? But there we go. Okay. It's it's a coat. So they had these lab coats, and there were two different people, okay, two different groups that were going to wear these lab coats. Okay. And so the first group, they said, hey, this is very dark. Well, they said, hey, um, these lab coats are actually painter's coats. So we're going to go painter. Okay. And then for the second group, they said, hey, this is actually a doctor's white lab coat. I don't think, I don't know. I feel like doctors don't wear them very much anymore. Maybe they do where you're at. But anyways, you get the idea. Okay. So first group, oh, this is a painter's coat. The second group, oh, this is a doctor's coat. And so they had to wear them when they were taking a test. And what they found is that the people that were told it was a doctor's white lab coat performed better than the painter, the ones that were told that it was a painter's coat. Why? Because your clothes, what you are wearing, now you have to actually be wearing the piece, but what someone thinks about what they are wearing will tell them who they are. These group of people put on that coat and told, hey, it's like you're a doctor now. And so that made them think, oh, wow, I'm like really smart. Like and so they took that mindset of like, oh, wow, like I'm a doctor now, to some degree. They adopted that identity and were like thought smarter because they thought they were smarter. And so we can really use this to our advantage as female founders. We can tell our brain like who we are. Now, obviously, you can do this the wrong way. And like there's some like it has to be in order for it to work really well. It's got to be something similar, like, you know, let's say you got a cheap medal and put it around your neck and were like, I'm an Olympian. And like you were not training to be Olympian at all. Like that's not gonna really do much for you. But when it is like when you really think of an identity that um, may seem like tricky and hard to get to currently, but you are like actively working towards it. You have a vision for seeing it. So let's say and sometimes, in business, it's just easier to do like an amount. So, let's say so here's where you're at. Let's say you're at like 150K per for this last year. Oh my goodness, this is really hard to see. So 150K. I might switch to my black one. For this last year. And then let's say that you're hoping this year, let me see that a little better. Yeah. You are hoping to get to like 200. Okay. By the end of this year. Okay. So one, rewrite this. 150. So you've like already, she needs some hair. You've already started there, like you're already working there, and you probably have some like mindsets already that are at this 100, 200K person, right? Um, that might be backwards, I'm sorry. Um, so here's the thing is that um like you already have that mindset, but you can really think about, okay, if I dress in a way, like what makes me feel that 200K? And since you're already like going there and doing other things to get there, it's not like so out of the reach in your mind that you're like, no, this is impossible. Like you need other things besides just your clothes. But your mind, like your brain is already there. Like you can't put on a scuba dive suit and be like, oh, I'm a scuba diver and think that you can, do an hour in the ocean. Obviously, that's ridiculous, right? But you could put that scuba diver suit in there and on and have a lesson, just like putting that scuba diving gear on, like let's say you're going to do scuba diving lessons and you start putting it on 3 days before because every time you put that on, that's going to help you like, oh yeah, I'm a scuba diver, and that's going to help you in your first lesson. So can't take it to this extreme, but as showed, like I told about in that test, like it is helpful. Those people, the only difference was them seeing that identity of a doctor instead of a painter that helped them score higher in their test. So, um, and I don't know if you've heard of Brooke Castillo's model, or I think it's Zig Ziglar's like the do be have. So you want to be able to take more vacations without sacrificing, get more, well, so that you get more time in your business in order to do that, and you don't want to sacrifice your business. Well, in order to have those more vacations, you have to do the things that will get you to get more time. And you really have to you have to think in that person that does those things so that you can have those things, right? And so that's how it works, is we really like use that principle and kind of get that starting point or get that end goal and go backwards. And that first step is in your style. So here we go. All right. So I want to take you, so we're gonna go backwards. So, let's see. Let's go down, up. Okay. So here, we're gonna say 5-day vacation. Actually, you know what? I'm just gonna draw on pictures, and that's a little too low. We're just gonna draw on pictures. Okay. So we're gonna do, I can't even see that. Okay, I'm gonna do my best to do a palm tree. Ooh, this is gonna be sketchy. Um, it's not too bad. Okay, so we're doing a palm tree. So here is your end result. You're on the beach, sitting next to your daughter. You're on vacation. You're on a 5-day vacation. And like you're you're like, I like this was not a sacrifice. Like I was not stressed. I'm not stressed about the time that I'm taking off to be on this vacation. Okay, so where does that come from? Okay, that comes from 3 to 6 months of consistency. I'm gonna do like, I don't know, this makes me think of consistency. It's like, like continually like the same thing over and over and over and over. So, so yeah, 3 to 6 months of consistency. And kind of with that is what it looks like. We're gonna break it down even more and think about like each week in those 3 to 6 months. So we are gonna say 2 hours. We're gonna do like a clock. So you're saving 2 hours, and then we are gonna go up to um a thought. You see that? Yeah, we can. Okay. I'm gonna tilt it. There we go. It's a little bit better. And I'll get fresh markers, guys, for next time. Um, it's a little bit clear, but you can kind of see it. So then we have the thought, okay? And this thought is going to be, I am a woman who delegates, okay? And we'll put it all together, but I just want to show you how you got to work backwards. Okay. And then we want to go to, yeah, you can see. Okay. That comes from, I'm gonna draw another code, I think. Or you know what? Let's just do like yeah, we'll do a coat. I think we'll do pink though. Or a shirt. We'll do, oh, this is, okay, we're doing a tank top up here. We're gonna do a polka dot pink tank top. Okay. I don't know if you're into polka dots, but we're gonna say that's a polka dot tank top. Okay. And so that is dressing in the way that you need to dress. And really, with thinking about the action steps that we need to take, we actually have one more step. And it's getting a little high, so I'm gonna go to the side. Oops. And if we're gonna do another thought. And this thought is thinking about what type of clothes, what type of clothes do I need to wear in order to be a person that delegates, in order to get 2 hours time saving in a week, and repetition 3 to 6 months to get that beach vacation with my daughter. So that is the system. Like that is how we actually break it down into how it all works. Now, I want to talk about, I think I'm going to slide it over a little bit and just keep that up there. So we talked about enclothed cognition. So that is, enclothed cognition is really what happens from here to here and then results in like here. So enclosed or yeah, so well basically I guess it's right there and then this is the action. So this is like the be, do, have. So when you dress in a way that speaks that future self, And in this scenario, we want to, this future self that we're talking about is saying, I'm a woman that delegates. So, as female founders, and if you've been in the business for a while, like normally when we get started, we have to do everything ourselves, right? Or almost everything. And so it can be really easy to get used to just doing everything ourselves, everything ourselves. I was actually, I think, yeah, it was just last week. I was on Instagram and I saw like a reel or a story from someone that I know, and she had a like testimonial on there about from this woman, business owner, and she was saying, "Hey, like I worked with so and so, and I'm really used to doing most things on my own, so it was a little tricky to let me like let her do some branding stuff. But oh my goodness, it was so good. And like she did an amazing job, da da da. And it made me think and like just like, you know, about how as female founders, like it can be hard to delegate, right? It can be hard when we're so used to like just doing everything or so much on our own, even if we have like the person there that could do it. It is so easy to be like, you know what? Like this is only going to take like 15 minutes. I can just do that. It's fine. Or, but like think about it. It adds up. You're like, "Oh, I can just post the YouTube video. It's fine. It's going to be like 15 minutes." And it ends up being a half an hour. That's a half an hour out of your day. Or, like it's fine. I can just there's so many different things, right? And each thing adds up, let's say like, oh, I can just text this person back and reschedule this our Zoom call together. It's fine. But like think of all the go back and forth if you go back and forth and then putting it in your calendar and all of that could be another 15, 30 minutes. And so this time adds up, this time adds up. And so really it can easily add 2 hours in a week to business time than you like had planned and scheduled, then were like the best movie needle things for your business when you're like, oh, I can just do it instead of delegating and saving that time. Okay, so that's where like the 2 hours comes. But so as female founders, it can be hard to have the mindset of like, I'm gonna delegate it. This came up, oh, this needs to be changed. I'm going to delegate it. And so that's like we have the enclosed cognition, okay? And so this part right here, let me go on and explain this. Um, so here to here is really, and we're going to talk about this more later, but the first step is thinking, okay, um, what are my clothes telling me when I get dressed? So as I was preparing for this YouTube episode, or if you're listening on the podcast, which if you are listening on the podcast, I'm drawing visuals, so you decide whether you need to hop on a YouTube or not. But so as I was thinking about preparing this episode, I was thinking in my own life because it is honestly something you are continually growing, right? You want to be continually growing in your business. You need to be thinking this every so often. There have been so many times, like I think about how many like how my style has shifted. Sometimes a lot, sometimes a little in like the last almost 2.5 years. Yeah. It is crazy. It is crazy as I've gotten more clear, as I like gotten more clear with who I am and also like the woman that I'm becoming each year. It is crazy how different my style is then in from then to now. because I needed my clothes to tell me different things. And so I was thinking like, you know, 2.5 years ago, I was wearing a lot brighter things. I was wearing like more feminine things. And it served me well for that season. Actually, it would have been, yeah, like 3 to 2.5 years ago. I kind of wore that style for a year. So, and that was great. Like that is who I was feeling, like who I needed to be. I was pregnant and then had a baby. And but now things are more professional. Things are more like classic and simple in some ways, yet dressed up a little bit more because now I need to have that communicating to me. Like, keep it simple, but elevated is what it's really communicating it to me. But I was thinking that, like, started that process of right here, like, okay, what are my clothes saying to me, and what do I need them to say to me? So that is like the first step. And then, secondly, so you're like, okay, and you figure out what your clothes need to be. And then, as you are getting dressed every day and you're putting on those clothes, that enclothed cognition kicks in. And right here, for this scenario, we want to think, okay, I'm a delegator. I am, because when we had that down here, like 250,000 me is a delegator. Like it's just going to have to happen. One of the thoughts that she, or one of the looking at my notes, traits. I want to think of like traits of, so the 250. Um, I'm going to put that up here as you're thinking of what you need to say. Like it needs to say 250. Um, you dropped my pen. Okay. So you need to say 250 me. That's what my clothes need to say. What is one of those traits? Because it can be a little over and be like totally encompass her. So taking one trait at a time is really good and be like, okay, she is someone that needs to delegate. Okay. So then you want to think, what is she saying? Like, and I need to have that thought. So my clothes need to, so then you're going to be, I missed a step. You need to start incorporating, okay, here are the clothes that tell my brain I am 250K me, I delegate. You start delegating and like this is something, as you are switching your style or tweaking it a bit, it's going to take time, which is when we go into like the repetition. Um and it will take time because like your brain, so the way your brain works, and you may know this or may not. So it has like the different pathways. I'm going to say that's a pathway. And so, like, the more you think of something, the stronger that pathway gets. Okay. So every time you think of that, it gets like it's going to get darker on the board, right? And so your thought is very strong, whether it's true or not. So as you when you think a new thought, when you wear the clothes that think the new thought of 250,000 you, um, it's gonna work, but it's not gonna be like automatic, like, oh, I'm delegating everything. The first thought might be like the first thing that might work for you is like, oh, like you get to this point of like, oh, I can just send that email quick. And you like pause and you're like, oh, this is a moment of delegation. And you might think like, oh, I need to be a delegator, but I'm not going to be. And it's like progressive, but you're still not at the point of thinking and being the female founder like, I am a delegator for everything. But then the next week, you have the thought of like, oh, I could delegate it. Or like the thought, oh, I could just do it myself. Oh, wait, but I am a delegator. And so that week, you do delegate that thing. And more you have that thought, I am a delegator. I am a thought delegator as each time that comes up. And so it gets stronger and darker, even though this is kind of erasing stuff. That thought gets stronger and stronger and stronger. So you are doing it more and more. So the more that you have that thought and delegate, you can get to that point of saving 2 to how many hours um, a week just by delegating. You're consistently like, I'm a delegator, I'm a delegator. And every time you get dressed, okay, here, I just want you to think about this too. Most of you probably get dressed every single day for your business in some capacity. If not, that is a whole other story, but you should be getting dressed for your business. Even if it's like wearing, if you're a mom and you're doing it during nap time or like, not like you don't have certain structured business hours, um, like helping your brain switch on the businesswoman, like even, you know, um, sometimes I will just add like a coat, my blazer on to just help me get in that mindset, really put on that identity. I want you to think about like your business clothes as like a costume. Maybe your mom, maybe not. You have like your wife costume, you might have your mom costume, your business costume, like they're all telling you to be a certain person. So ideally, when you are doing business, you are putting on that costume, that business costume, whether it's a layering piece, maybe it could honestly even be some lipstick, just some things that signal to your brain, business mode, right? The more, the better. And also you need to think about, okay, what is 250,000 going to be wearing to really get that strong identity? So, that was legit. But okay, this is what I wanted So every day, every single day you are getting dressed. You have the potential to make this a business strategy by dressing like 250 her with something you do every day. Okay? And you might be like, well, I dress professional. And yeah, but it's really not making you benefits. It's really not giving you that full strategy unless you are dressing in a way that puts your brain to the 250,000. I was dressing nice. Like it was nicer, but it was still not in alignment with the whatever my goal was this year. And so like me dressing that old style, it was outdated to the person that I was and the person I'm becoming. And so yes, it may help me. I look nice, so I look professional, but if it's not in true alignment with that new person, you're missing out so much in an activity you are already doing every single day. So there we go. Okay. So if you think about what we would wear, what we need to start wearing to be that person, what our clothes need to be. That gives us the thought of like I am a delegator because that's one trait that new person is. We start delegating and we save 2 hours on average. Like we save 2 hours each week because of those silly little tasks that we think we can just take on because we've done it all ourselves all along. Stop. Delegate, okay? Now, that compounds over and over and over. And I want to make sure that I get I'm usually pretty good at math, but I want to make sure that so I'm just going to do like 2 hours times we're going to do like let's do 4.5 because the weeks aren't, we're just, or no, 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 hold on. Sorry. Okay. So 2 hours, we're gonna say a week. And then, so let's do like, well, we'll do 3 months. Okay. So two times, we're gonna do 4.5. Or say there's like, or we'll just do 4 weeks, even though it's like 4 to 5 weeks in a month. Um, and then we're gonna times that times 3 months. Okay. So that is 24 hours. Like that is a whole day. And honestly, like I would say like this number 2 hours is just like a start of the time you could save. Okay? Just a start. As you are delegating more and more, like we think those easy, quick time things that we're like, I can just do, like if we actually time them, most of them are long. Um, so just a day in 3 months, you're saving a day, and you keep doing that over and over and over. You will get to saving time so that you can take your daughter. Now, whether it is, like we could do it this way and like you save time and you build that time so like you save time in there, but then I want you to think about like so you save 2 hours each week in time. What if you put that instead of doing those little tasks? What if you put them into tasks that like you actually are responsible for? So let's say you the 2 hours in the 1 week, you instead of doing those minuscule things, you delegate. And so you're like, you know what? You think ahead and like, okay, I want to go to um I want to go with my daughter in 6 months to the beach. Like, what are the actual like necessities that I need to have done? Because if you are running a good business, you should be able to take off a week of like, maybe you have group coaching, but then you add a guest on that week. So you're not responsible for that. You want to, like think of like, okay, what actually needs to be done in that week? Because we have slower weeks, we have busier weeks, right? And then you can take those. You're like, okay, I need to have a podcast episode come out that month, come out that week. I need to have 5 Instagram posts. I need to have 2 email sequences. And during those 2 hours each week, you you knock one or two of those things off your do it extra in preparation for going to the beach. So that when you get to that time and it's beach time, you have those assets, those emails already written, those the the emails, the posts, the oh my goodness, the podcast, it's all done. And you did not add more time to your business to get that. You saved it because you delegated, because you kept telling yourself, I am a delegator from your style. And so you get to that point, you get to the week before leaving on vacation. And that Friday comes and you're like, okay, double checking, this is done, this is done, this is done. I didn't even have to add any extra hours in. I saved hours, and then when I was saving those hours, I put those hours into things ahead of time to get me to this week that like all the work is done. And I can go on a beach vacation with my daughter, which I've been putting off for way too long, and like things are taken care of. I'm not sacrificing my business. I didn't sacrifice time to get to this place. And you're going to have peace of mind. You're going to be so much more excited to go with her. And look at like where it started. your style. It started in switching your identity through your style, thinking, what is just, this is just one trait. Okay, like just think about this. This is just like such a crazy, and as I'm talking about more and more, I'm like blowing my mind more and more. This is one trait. Imagine if you did like three or four traits of this person and used your clothes to help you get the identity of that trait, which made you think, I am that person. It changed your mindset. It gave you a stronger thing so that it helped you do that action and repetition to the beach. Which I never talked about in my notes. There was 3 points I wanted to make. One, to how to really get this is to use the enclosed cognition to your benefit. And two is repetition. Let's just talk about that. And I mentioned it, like the 2 hours over and over and over. And I kind of said, so think of, and I did more of like what time you'll save. So you'll save a whole day in 3 months, but thinking of adding think of like, okay, so you save 2 hours each week over 3 months. That's a full day that you've like saved in your business. Think of having like one extra business day, how much you could get done to prepare for that beach. Like it's crazy, right? You could even, I think I said like 3 to 6 months. You could easily, like, could you get that podcast done, those email sequence done, and Instagram post done. Like, I think if you had a clear day with nothing on it, could you get all that stuff done in a day? Then you could start this, which it does take a little time to activate. So let's maybe 6 months would be a little bit better. But okay, think of 6 months from today, whatever the date is, you are flying, or maybe you're it's the last week before you go on vacation because Um, you started that identity, and it does take a little repetition. But then it like just compounds and boom. Okay, I want to talk about repetition though, really give you a clear picture of repetition. And we know, right? But like it's good to think about. Okay. Let's see how well this is doing. Okay. So we're gonna pretend this is dirt. Do you do well with plants? That is not great. Okay. We're having a hard time focusing, getting it. Um, I feel like we're either great or we're not so great. I tend to kill plants, which is actually kind of funny because I'm a farmer's wife. Thankfully, my husband is a whole lot better at growing and keeping plants alive than I am. So I don't know which category you fall into, but this is not showing up well either. I'm sorry, guys. Next week, it'll be so much better. Okay. I want you to think I have one more marker to try. Think of like if you were a gardener and this is a fun color. Okay, you can see this. So we have the dirt. And I don't know what, oh, that's still hard to see too. But okay, you have the dirt and you are like wanting to plant green beans, we'll say. I love green beans. And I hope you do too. So first of all, like you put the seeds in the dirt. You can see that. There we go. Yeah. Okay. You do not like see it shoot up for a while, right? But you have to keep, okay, we're gonna do a watering can. Ooh, that we're gonna say that's a watering can. And so you have to water it, right? Like every day, sometimes depending on the plant, but like let's say it's a plant that you need to water every day. You have to do it day after day unless it rains. Like it's just this repetitious thing. And like what's really cool. And what we did this year is we actually put dirt and a seed in a glass jar so that we could see the roots growing. But if it's in the ground, like you don't see, it looks like it's just that same pile of dirt until you see that little sprout coming up. And then eventually time, you have to keep watering it, keep watering it, keep watering it like it sprouts into the plant, right? But it takes this repetitious time. And so there's two repetitions in here, like the repetition of wearing that new identity clothing and business style to get to that thought of I'm a delegator, and then um like the repetition of the time that you are saving and putting towards other things so that you can have all of those tasks completed before you go to the beach vacation. So I just wanted to just a reminder of what the power of repetition can do. And then, so like really, how do we do this? We think about um, use clothes cognition to like repetition of both like adopting that identity, thinking those thoughts, I am a delegator, and then the time that you save and like using that time building it, like builds on itself so that you're getting those things done that you need to. Um, and then, you know, number three, which I think I had this backwards, sorry, is dress the part. That would actually be four, the first one. But I guess we're not going in order. So really dressing the part, thinking, like, what does she wear? Um, what does she wear? And so I was thinking about this to apply it to my own life because like I said before, it's so good to think about it often because you are changing and your goals are changing. And so I was like, okay, thinking about a goal for like, one thing that you can do is really think about the end of the year. Like, what is that goal? Um, or a year from now. And I was thinking that I really wanted to have the one of the traits that future me has is that like sales are super consistent. And like a certain amount of sales are super consistent. And so I need the mindset of like, I'm gonna make sales consistently. I am a consistent sales maker. And I realized I was like, okay, how do I think that way? Like, what in my mindset is off that is making me think that way? And so I dug even deeper and I like was like thinking in my mind about my clothes because some things I'm like, okay, yes, like I feel like I'm elevated. I think like I feel like I'm things are simple and elevated, but recently I've been adding a lot of like light things. There's another one. I'm into stripes right now. Um, a lot of like light things are in my business wardrobe. And I know from color psychology, which is a thing that impacts what color impacts what we're speaking to people and what it's telling us. And darker colors like speak authority. Lighter colors are more approachability, and you need both in your business wardrobe. But I realized, like, okay, so I am looking approachable. Like, I am feeling aligned with like being the goal woman that is approachable, reaching out, caring for her audience and her clients. But I realized in order to have the mindset of like, I am making consistent sales, the amount that I need to. I'm missing a little bit of authority in my wardrobe. And so I need to feel that authority to have that mindset. And so I actually need to add some more darker colors into my wardrobe to get that mindset going so that I can think that and then I can have better actions. I know it's going to impact how I show up and just like So when I get dressed every day, I'm going to put on the identity. I am someone that makes these consistent sales, and I'm going to be more excited to do my tasks. I'm going to feel more confident being that person, and that is going to come out in my body language, showing up here, showing on Instagram. That's going to come out in the words that I use on my emails. So many different effects. That's really going to help me get to that trait of having those consistent months. So, um, really dressing the part. So it's DUR, dressing the part to that identity, using that enclosed cognition. So when you dress like her, the woman you're becoming, you think more like her. Think that I'm a delegator. Repetition of that creates that stronger brain wavelength, so that you just start thinking about that more and more and do that more and more. And that adds up, those hours adds up so that you can start incorporating those hours into things that really are going to move the needle for when you are gone, to get those tasks done for when you are gone. And that's so repetition, that's going to add up, and voila. The time you didn't think you had to commit to getting ready to take off for that beach vacation shows up. Isn't that crazy? And that is from your style, guys. That is from an intentional business style. And I call it brand aligned style because um, there's three pillars in it. But one of the pillars, and I'm just going to take this down, is dressing for your business identity. And that is that woman that you're becoming. I like to think like becoming her. Who are you becoming? That is the woman that maybe if it helps you think of like at the end of the year, and maybe like it's that dollar amount goal. Like, how do I dress like her? How am I brand aligned so that I'm dressing like she would, and dress like her before you get to her, because you have to think so that you can do, so that you can actually hit that becoming her goal, hit that 250K a year goal. You have to put on that identity so that you think like her, so that you do the things that to get you to that goal. So, okay, now I'm just looking. So here's your takeaway, and I will put something in the captions if you want to look at it, write it down. But so with that first step, you need to think about like, what is that goal? Is there a certain goal at the end of the year? If you're really close to the end of the year, that might not be, when you're watching this or listening, that might not be the best. But think about like, what is one goal in your business that you have that you can think about, the dollar amount, and is a good way to start. And think about, okay, if I was making that much now, how would I be dressing? Or, like you can think of that, which here's a little hint too, or a little helpful hack, I guess you would say, is um you can, if you're getting a little, like, if you're feeling like, I don't know exactly, think about a female founder that you really look up to, and maybe she has some characteristics or traits that she wears or that she has that you want to adopt, that would be a trait in that goal person. And think about some things that she wears. Like, you definitely do not want to copy her. Absolutely not. But you can take some of the, like, you can copy some things to agree. So for example, like, I was not really a person that wore watches. And this is like, now I do, for a couple of reasons. One is because I do like just knowing the time, especially like when I'm out with my kiddos in the yard and I don't want to bring my phone. So that is a huge reason why I do. But also I realized one time as I was typing on my computer, um, I like happened to look at my watch and it put me it made me think of someone that I really look up to, a female founder that I really look up to, and I want to like some of her traits I want to do and are that becoming her. And as I saw myself wearing this, it just made me kind of think like a little identity shift of like, oh, I'm like her. And like I could take that into writing my emails that I was doing that time. So you can think about some female founders that you really look up to. Is it certain accessories? Like, is there something that you could start adding to your style that helps you feel like her a little bit more? That will just shift your identity a little bit. Like my watch and the girl's watch that she wears are really different, but just like the watch concept. Here's the thing too, is like you want to make sure it aligns with your business and your audience, like your whole brand. So like for her watch, I think it's more like rectangle, more classic watch and like silver. And I like, you look here and like there's the gold, there's the beige, which I often wear and stuff. And the crystal for the elevated look. I took that concept though of having a watch that made me feel like her, that shifted my identity, and found one that was in my brand. So that's just something you can do. So start thinking about, okay, like what is one trait that that future person has, or what's a trait that a founder female has? Like what is a goal that I want to have? And then what is a trait or thought that would get me there? So for that it was like, I want to go on a vacation. I need to save time. Okay, or I need to be able to like save time to put towards doing those extra things when I'm on vacation ahead of time. And so, like, the thought of like, okay, how can I save time? Okay, I am doing way too many things on my own. I have a virtual assistant. She can be doing more things. I need to have the thought of I am a delegator. How, and then dress like I'm a delegator. That is that future identity. And like think of like, okay, this future self is going on vacations more. How is she going on vacations more? Okay, she's like getting more done during the day. She would already have that stuff done that she needs ahead of time. Those like five things done way ahead of time. How is she getting those five things done ahead of time? What am I doing that she does not do? You could say like, what am I doing that she does not do? Or what am I not doing that she does? Oh, she delegates more. Like I'm doing things I don't necessarily have to do. So I need to think, I am a delegator. I am a delegator. Okay. So how can I dress in a way like her? And when I'm dressing, I'm thinking, I'm a delegator. And that gets in my mind, which impacts me to delegate more, which gets me there. So you're seeing like the trail of all of that, of the be do have. So okay, this was a full episode. I'd love to hear like takeaways down below or questions. I would love to connect with you and I'll put my like Instagram and that sort of thing below. But guys, the amazing effects of really having a business style that works for you and not a business fashion style that works for you because style can be such a varied word. I know. So like a business fashion style, a business wardrobe is set up in the way that is a strategy. So it can help you accomplish dreams like taking more vacations each year without the adding time onto your business. It is so possible. I hope that really watching this episode gave you that hope to get there and like give you hope in a way of finding it in a way that you never really would have thought of before. So, all right, we have reached the end. But know that until next time, I am cheering you on in your style Bye for now. Get ready because next week's episode is going to be good, where we are really using our clothes in business to be seen, remembered, and hired and get to those goals that we are dreaming about. All right, bye for now.